you learning English but find it difficult, confusing, even mysterious? Are you an English teacher but find English grammar easier to use than to explain? Well, don't worry. On this show, I'll be your language detective. I'll answer your questions about the English language and help you solve these English mysteries. It's Hard-Boiled English Live. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Teacher Paul, your English instructor, language coach, and English detective. The format of Hard-Boiled English is simple. You ask questions and I help you answer them. This show broadcasts every week from Vancouver, Canada, the west coast of Canada, from the Hard-Boiled English Media Studios right here in Vancouver. This is a production of Hard-Boiled Media, which is also the host of my YouTube channel, Hard-Boiled English. Now on this YouTube channel, you can find several of my series, including my flagship series, English Weirdness. English Weirdness is a long-form educational series that uses dramatization and animation to explore the strange side of the English language. In addition, on that channel, you'll also find another series, only one episode so far, called English Confidential. Now, this series is a little different. In this series, I investigate some of the strange English expressions native speakers use. And I think this is important because if you're learning English and you're hearing native speakers, you might want to be careful what to pick up from them. English Confidential explores sort of their bad habits. Additionally, I am available for private English lessons online if you want some extensive help with your English learning. If you do, contact me at www.teacherpaulsclassroom.com. And from there, you can send me an email, tell me what you need, and we can make arrangements. Again, the format of this show is simple, guys. First thing I want you to do is say hello in the comment box. And especially, tell me where you're from. We really like to get a sense of where our fans and viewers are from. And we have regular viewers from all over the place, including Europe, South America, Asia, the Middle East. In fact, we already have a greeting from Tirath, who joins us every week from Nepal. Now, if you haven't looked at a map lately, I suggest you do so, and you'll notice that Nepal is very far away from where I am in Vancouver. So it's probably a very different time for Tirath to be watching from. So thank you for joining us. We also have Wako joining us from Japan. Hello, Wako. We also have Chris Derboven joining us from Belgium. Chris is also a regular viewer and friend of mine, so welcome to the show. Again, guys, I'm Teacher Paul. I'm an English instructor, a language coach, and an investigator of the weirdness of English. We also have Teresa Hemsath joining us from Utah, USA. Thank you for joining us, Teresa. And special shout out to both you and Owen Video for all the help and insight you've given me in helping me develop this show here on the internet. So thank you for joining us, all of you. We'll get started in a minute. Now, sometimes what happens, guys, is that people... we have Etz joining us from Japan. Welcome to the show, Etz. Thank you for waking up early to join the show. We have... Yeah, okay, great. So yeah, what happens on the show, guys, is that people ask me questions in the comment box. Just type in your questions about English and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Sometimes, it's rare, but sometimes I can't come up with an answer for you. In that case, I assure you, I'll do my research and answer it on the subsequent show. What also happens is sometimes during the daytime or during the week between shows, people contact me and either send me videos or ask me questions during the week. And those I'll present on the show. And I have a couple lined up for today. If you want to send me a video clip of yourself asking a question, please do so. The way to do that is to go to Facebook and find either of my Facebook pages, Teacher Paul's Hardboiled English, or just me, Paul Duke, on Facebook. Connect with me, send me a message, send me a video, whatever you want. It's really fun to have a video because I can bring it on the show and share it with everyone. Special shout out, hello to Luis Arturo. He's in Vancouver, originally from Venezuela, a fabulous musician here in Vancouver. And I think he's going to join us on the show at some point. Not today, but another time. We also have Akash joining us from Nepal. Fans in Nepal. Looks like a growing audience there. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us. Anyone else saying hello? Who else do we have here? Okay, it's wonderful to see you all. Thank you for joining us. To start the show, guys, I'm going to answer a question that was sent to me earlier today, actually yesterday. And it's a comparison between two sentences. So let's go to the board and break it down as we do. Let me just test my pen. Looks good. Okay, so in the captions, we have a question lined up. What's the difference between? Let's pop that up. What's the difference between you only have to study hard and all you have to do is study hard? Bear with me for a moment. All you have to do is study hard and you only have to study hard. Now, I've said on previous shows, guys, that when we think about language, any language, but especially English, because it's very irregular, when we think of a language, we have to think about different layers of it. As I've said before, it's like a lasagna. We have grammar layers to think about. We also have meaning layers to think about. We also have conventional usage to think about. We also have connotations to think about. And connotations are like emotional meanings. They're not clearly visible in the words. They're not clearly visible in the grammar. Connotations are associated with a word or sentence inside a culture. And these things change over time. I'll give you an example. One of the words I use a lot is cool. I often say, oh, that's cool, or stay cool. In fact, at the end of every show, I think you hear me say, stay cool. And I mean that in the sense that we should stay calm, keep our minds focused, and not worry about too many things, but just try to deal with life as we can. Stay cool means calm. It means James Bond, not worried about anything. He's the epitome of cool. However, about 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, excuse me, the word didn't have such a positive meaning. It didn't mean relaxed and calm and bombs are going off and James Bond is sipping a cocktail. It didn't mean that. It had an association with the underground subcultures of the USA, which were associated with strange music, jazz music, African-American culture, which at the time was separated from white culture. It had associations with drugs and alcohol. It was an underground word that meant cool, under the surface of mainstream or normal life. So it had a negative meaning to a lot of people. So over time, that word changed its connotation. Didn't change its grammar. It's still an adjective. It changed its meaning and its connotation. Okay? So what we have here, guys, is a similar situation. All you have to do is study hard. You only have to study hard. Both of them are perfect grammar. They're perfectly useful expressions you can say. No problem. And what they're telling you is, hey, dude, study hard. That's the solution to your problem. But the way they're expressed conveys a slightly different meaning. Let's take this away for a second and strip it down to its basics. You have to study hard. Now remember, guys, a sentence doesn't just exist on my board or on someone's lips. A sentence happens in the real world. It happens in a context. It happens inside a conversation. So when we think about a sentence like this, especially when we're comparing them, we have to imagine what question that might answer. So if this is person B saying this, what did person A say to them that made them say that? Well, let's say this person A says, what should I do? What should I do? I have an exam tomorrow. Oh, getting off my board here. I have an exam tomorrow. What should I do? I'm not sure what I should do. Now, I don't know why someone would ask that, because if you have an exam tomorrow, you're probably a student. And if you're a student, you know the answer to that question. Study. But let's just say for the sake of conversation. Well, the answer might be, well, you have to study hard. That's the solution to that question. Right? Now, if you want to make that seem like there's only one thing to do, if you want to emphasize that, you put in an adverb like only. You only have to study hard. Nothing else. Right? Don't eat a pizza. That won't help you with the exam. I don't know, don't buy a car. That's not going to help you with the exam. The only thing that will help you is study hard. So in this conversation, that might be the way to answer it. It's just a statement of simple fact. You only have to study hard. Okay? Now the first sentence, if this is person B, this might answer a different question. Or it might be a response to a different expression. It sounds to me like person A is worried, stressed out. They might have said something like, oh my God, I have an exam tomorrow. I'm worried. Or maybe they didn't even say I'm worried. Maybe they just sweated and shook because they're so worried. Anyways, they're worried. And their friend wants to help them calm down. How do they do that? They say, don't worry. All you have to do is study hard. This expression is what we call a diminisher. It makes things smaller than they are. It shrinks the power of something, or it reduces intensity. We also have other expressions called intensifiers, but this is the opposite. This is a diminisher. It reduces things down to a less powerful meaning. So person A is scared of this big evil monster, the exam, right? They're really worried. And their friend wants to assure them that they're going to be fine, to encourage them. What do? They make the monster feel smaller. They make the exam feel less scary. They diminish the exam's scariness. They do that with this expression. All you have to do, right? We usually use the word all to mean a lot of things. All the people in the world are worried about COVID-19, as they should be. All the people. If we take that word and use it like this, we are saying there's a lot of things that you can do, but there's only one you really should do, which is study hard. All you have to do. It makes it seem like this is nothing. This is what's known as understatement, right? Making something powerful seem less powerful. Hey, Paul, you want to climb that mountain? Sure, I've got nothing else to do. That's understatement. It makes the mountain seem like no big deal. This is an expression that diminishes the impact or the worry about the exam. So the grammar of both are very similar and they're both accurate. The meanings are basically the same. You're telling your friend the solution is study. But the connotation's different, the emotional meaning. Here, you're just indicating what they should do because this person clearly doesn't know what they should do. Oh, you just have to study hard. You only have to study hard. This one has got an emotional meaning of like, don't worry. All you have to do is study hard. Don't worry. Which means the first person was worrying. So when do you use that? Use it when your friend is worrying. right? Oh my God, my business closed down. I'm losing money. Don't worry. All you have to do is, well, I don't know, get a bank loan or get some money from the government or have a campaign. Okay. So all you have to do makes things seem less worrisome, right? So that was a great question I heard yesterday. And again, this is related to the language lasagna. Sometimes the answer is not grammatical. Sometimes the answer is not even the difference of meaning. Sometimes the difference is emotional expression or emphasis. Hey, we've got some new people joining us. We've got Akash joining us. Oh, we've got Akash already from Nepal. We have Bargain Betty joining us from the moon. We have Dropping Dimes joining us, maybe first time. Dropping Dimes, friend of the show. Thank you for joining us. Dropping Dimes has a great podcast online you should check out, especially if you're a basketball fan. Dropping Dimes, if you don't mind, maybe you could put your link in the comment box. Share it with the viewers. Hello to Aya's Notes. Aya's Notes is a fan of the show and also host of a YouTube show called Aya's Notes. So check that out on YouTube. Always happy to see fellow internet hosts on the show. Dropping Dimes. Actually, at some point we should invite Dropping Dimes onto the show to talk about these sort of things. We have Yoshie joining us from Japan. Welcome. Welcome to the show, Yoshie. Hopefully you're staying warm, depending on where you are in Japan. There's a lot of snow happening, I think. So thank you for joining the show. Dropping Dimes has a question for us, actually. It's not a grammar question. It's one out of curiosity. And I'll answer it. But I also want you guys to answer it. So his question is, what are some of your favorite words in English? And by favorite, I guess we should think of these words as words that we say a lot. I happen to say these words a lot, but I also want you to type in your words. So guys, tell us your favorite words and I'll get them on the board. But some of my favorite words are cool. I say cool a lot. I describe things as cool a lot, often. I also say the word pizza often. I use it in examples. I like to eat pizza, although I'm careful not to eat too much. Actually, that's not true. I'm careful not to eat pizza too often. However, when I do eat it, I eat a lot in terms of volume. And I usually regret that. But I do say these words a lot. Cool, pizza. I do say awesome a lot. Bargain Betty says queue. Now, queue is a line of people, right? Typically in Britain, they say queue, but in North America, often people will say lineup. Maybe there's a lineup in front of your store. It's the same meaning, but this is more common in North America. But Bargain Betty lives on the moon, so she's apparently, so she actually has her choice because from her, she can use words from all over the earth. And it uses a lot of vowels, as she says. What are some of your favorite words, Dropping Dimes? Another of my favorite words, which should be obvious, is weird. I say weird a lot. Now, weird's an interesting word and again relates to connotation. Weird means strange or unusual or maybe even unnatural. For example, if a rabbit walks down the street beside you and starts talking, that's weird. However, I love weird things. I'm fascinated by weird things. So for me, this has a positive connotation. Although it depends on the situation. Something weird, might not be good for you. Okay, Dropping Dimes. Now we're getting somewhere. He likes dimes, which is a basketball expression. Also a football expression to mean an accurate throw. Crossover, which is a type of dribbling move where you cross over and then switch back. And best of all, dunk. Now, this was one of my favorite words growing up. Dropping Dimes and myself are both basketball fans. When I was young, when I was a teenager, I was crazy about basketball. And as I got a little taller and more athletic, the most important thing for me and my friends was to be able to jump high enough to be able to dunk a basketball. And we worked on this like crazy until we could actually do it. So as a young man, I said that word thousands of times in all its variations: slam dunk, dunk, jam, all of that. And I think by the time I was in grade 9 in high school, grade 9, first year of high school, basically, I could dunk. Tirath tells us great and wow are some of his favorite words. Great and wow. Wako says chips. Chips, you know, like fried potato chips or baked potato chips. Chips. Excellent. Who's that? Who said excellent? Chris. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Oh, yes, Dropping Dimes mentions that we have an interview with Teacher Paul coming out soon. So not long ago, Dropping Dimes interviewed me, not about English necessarily, but about basketball, because I do love basketball, and that was something we had in common. And by the way, maybe we can pull up the graphic. The host of Dropping Dimes, his name is Rodrigo, and he stars in one of our episodes of English Weirdness about conditionals. Do we have that graphic? What the hell are conditionals? So if you want to meet Dropping Dimes host, Rodrigo Garcia, go to my website, my YouTube channel, which is Hardboiled English, and check out this episode, English Weirdness number 8. It's all about conditional grammar, but it features some basketball scenes starring Rodrigo, the host of Dropping Dimes. Plus, you'll learn about English. So check that out. Cool. I said it. Cool. Lots of great words here, guys. One thing about words I think we should think about is superlative words, descriptors like awesome. Now, this was my word, so I'm responsible for it. If we say awesome, yes, Luis says I say awesome a lot. So it's worth discussing, and full disclosure here, I'm going to be honest about this. I don't use this word properly. Now, it's an adjective. And I might use it to say, oh, that pizza was awesome, or that movie was awesome. The problem is, in English, this is like the number one most positive descriptor. So if you're describing something like pizza or a movie, that stuff is not so important in life. It's not so big. This is the biggest word we have in English. It's usually used in terms of awe, something that makes you just can't believe it. And we should use this for immensely important, powerful things like the universe. The universe is truly awesome. When you study the universe and you learn how many planets there are, how many suns, how many stars, the possibility of other life forms and civilizations, that is awesome. It's so big, I can barely think about it. Okay? Or if you're religious, if you're a religious person, your God is awesome. So big, you can't even imagine. That's really what awesome means. It means the greatest thing, the most enormous measurement or descriptor you could find. Okay? We shouldn't use it on things like pizza or to describe a pop star like Justin Bieber or Cardi B. Oh, they're awesome. No, they're not awesome. Maybe they're good if you think so. But are they as awesome as the universe? No. So I think we waste these words. Words like awesome we should save them to describe something incredible. Really, really enormous, powerful, moving, incredible. We shouldn't describe Justin Bieber as awesome. We should say, yeah, he's pretty good, or he's good, he's great. Save this for things that are truly awesome. Otherwise, they lose their meaning. Okay, we've got some new viewers with us. We've got Abir from Bangladesh. We have Muntasir from Bangladesh. And joining us, I think for the first time, is Pache Copiano from Venezuela. Welcome to the show. We have a video clip. We have a question sent in on video. So let's get that up. I'm just going to put my audio on here so I can hear it. Let's see what this question is. We have it ready, the video clip. Okay, let's hear it.
Hello, Teacher Paul. I am Chris, one of your fellow students from Owen's Video Marketing School. And I have a question for you about one of the mysteries of English grammar. Long ago, I learned at school in Belgium that we must use question tags. But I found them so confusing. And is it true that we really must use them? Because I don't find them in books, for example. So, can you solve that mystery? Can you help me? Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, great question. Great question, and thank you, Chris, for sending us that question. So Chris is wondering about something we call tag questions. And just to refresh your memory, tag questions work like this. Sorry, let me just... And if you've experienced these questions, you know they're kind of strange. And many students struggle with this. And I understand that, but I think I can explain this. So what you see here, guys, the confusing part is that you have a simple statement of fact, you like pizza, then we have a comma, then we have a question. And it's very rare in English that we mix statement and question together in one long sentence, right? We have a simple statement. She doesn't study. Simple fact. But then it becomes a question. Does she? And the other thing you'll notice is that this statement is a positive statement, but this has the not here. This is negative. And this one here has the not here, the negative, but the positive here. So what the hell's going on? Well, tag questions have a special job to do. They're not quite a statement, and they're not fully a question. Okay? They're a mix of both. Why do we need that? Well, again, let's go back to the lasagna. The English language lasagna. We have grammar levels, meaning levels, convention, and connotation. Convention is how we use it in life, right? The function or purpose. Connotation, as I mentioned earlier, is the emotional meaning associated with something. What's happening here? Are we making a statement or asking a question? Well, look, if you just want to make a statement of fact, you like pizza. That's all you need to say. Does Bob like pizza, Paul? Yeah, Bob likes pizza. Bob likes pizza. That's a statement, right? Or she doesn't study. She doesn't study. That's just a statement of fact, of a simple truth, a general truth. Okay? Don't you like pizza? That would be a question. Or do you like pizza? That would be a question. Does she study? I don't know. Does she study? I'm asking a question. So if you want to make a simple statement of fact, just make a statement, right? If you want to ask a question because you don't know the answer, just ask a question, right? That's the function, the purpose, or the conventional use of these statements and questions. But what we have here is a mix. Why do we do it? We do this because we're not sure, right? You like pizza. That's a simple statement of fact. But what if I'm not sure? Like, I think you like pizza, but I have doubt. This comma, think of this comma as like a moment where we, boom, we introduce doubt. In that moment, we're expressing that we don't know for sure. She doesn't study. Doubt. So let's make the comma red, because the comma is kind of that moment of doubt. She doesn't study. Doubt. I'm not sure. Does she? Right? So by switching from positive statement to negative question, or negative statement to positive question, at that moment, we're expressing that we're not sure. And at the end of the sentence, we have a question mark. And when we pronounce it, we lift our intonation up. Does she? Right? In that moment, we're asking the other person to confirm it for us. We're telling them, I'm not sure, I have some doubt. I sort of think she doesn't study because I never see her study. She's always eating at the cafe. So I never see her study, but she gets good marks. She doesn't study. I'm not sure. Does she? Please confirm it. Or, you like pizza. Actually, I've never seen you eat pizza. Don't you? So this whole structure is expressing our uncertainty and asking for, can you still see that? Asking for confirmation. Remember, guys, a sentence doesn't exist on my board alone. These things come from the real world, and they exist in a context, inside a conversation. So when you try to learn these and understand them, try to imagine the situation, right? Why would I use this? When would I use this? With whom would I use this? Well, when I'm not sure, I'm sharing what I think is true, a statement of fact, but I'm not sure it's a fact. I want you to help me clarify, so please confirm. This is how you do it in English. Positive statement, negative question, negative statement, positive question. It's a mix. It's not a question. It's not a statement of fact. The reason it's not a statement of fact is because you don't know it's a fact. You're not sure, and you want help. That's why it's a question. So you're expressing uncertainty and asking your friend for help. That's a tag question. And the structure is that combination of negative and positive, or positive and negative. And I think that switch, that contrast of negative to positive, positive, I think that's what gives people a hard time. Well, all you have to do is memorize that. Positive, negative, negative, positive. Statement, question. You could even draw that up as a formula. But the important thing is the meaning. What are you communicating? And that's what you're communicating. You're expressing what you think is true, but I'm not certain, and you're asking for confirmation, right? Hopefully that explains that, Chris. Please let me know if you have a further question about that. In the meantime, I'll say hello to Janine. She says, you're a great teacher, aren't you? Well, I can't answer that. I'll let other people answer that. But if you look at her sentence, it's a perfect example of a tag question. She says, you are a great teacher, statement of fact. Then the comma happens to express her doubt, and she asks for confirmation from you guys, aren't you? Luis Miguel says, hello, Paul, 3 a.m. in Spain, watching Best English Class. Thank you very much. We also have Nadim Solangi. Nadim, where are you calling from? Where are you watching from? And Chris says, thank you so much. Now I understand when and why to use question tags. Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. And Nadim tells us he's from Pakistan. Welcome to the show. As I've said before, guys, the most exciting thing for me with this show certainly isn't me being on camera. Actually, it's not my favorite thing in the world. I'm certainly not interested in, being on camera all the time. What I love is helping you understand English. And I really love hearing where you're from because it's fantastic. Here I am on the west coast of Canada during a pandemic where I spend most of my day in my home. By the way, you can't see it, but this is my home. This whiteboard is in my home office. And I'm communicating with you guys who are in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Toronto, Belgium. Who else do we have here? We have Japan here. We have Venezuela here. Yeah, I think that's everyone tonight. But we've also had people from Africa last time. We have people from Northern Europe. It's fantastic. I love it. So if you're enjoying the show, guys, please tell your friends to join us. I know it's an inconvenient time. Nadim reminds us here at 6:30 a.m. In Pakistan. I understand that's a problem. Trying to find the best time for this show is a challenge. We have tried different times, different days, and so far we find that this is the best time slot so that everyone has a chance to watch it. So if you don't mind, guys, just tell us in the comment thread, what time is it where you are? Nadim tells us it's 6:30 a.m. So Nadim, thank you for watching. Thank you for waking up early to watch the show. Really appreciate that. I know it's a challenge. And I think, Chris, it's quite late in the evening. Oh, Luis has a great question. Osman from Bangladesh. Osman, thank you for joining us. Okay, Luis, great question. This is going to be complex, so it may take a few minutes, guys. Luis says, I will help you, I don't know, I will help you study the book. And Luis says he notices, okay, sorry, help you find, that's the verb he wants. It doesn't matter the verb, actually. I will help you find, let's say, find a new car. And Luis notices that to is omitted, right? And he's heard probably in his English study that you really shouldn't put base form and base form verbs together. One of them should be infinitive form. Let me explain this to you. When we are stuck and confused about a sentence, I always recommend breaking it down to its basic parts. Always know where the basic parts are. And the basic parts are these: subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. Paul eats pizza. Subject, verb, object. If you see a sentence that's long and confusing, it's usually because you've lost track of those. So always know where they are. Subject, verb, object. I help you. Okay, that's the basic idea here. We have a modal here, which tells us the action will be in the future. That's not really that important in this context. The challenge with this sentence is this stuff over here, right? What's going on over here? Because we have another verb here. And we have another object, which means this object is doing two jobs, right? It's the object of this verb. It's also the subject of this verb. Weird, huh? Yeah. This is a special kind of structure in English. It's called a causative. And we don't usually, well, students don't usually learn that this is a causative. But let me tell you the secret. It is, and it's actually the most common. Help is part of a causative structure. This is what it means. It means you find a new car. You find a new car. That's one idea. And this is caused by this. Let me show you the more common or commonly taught examples of causative. Usually you see structures like this. Luis got or had. Well, let's try this. Luis made Paul buy a pizza. So Paul buy a pizza. That's one action. That's one idea. Paul didn't want to buy a pizza, right? Luis made him. Luis caused that. Okay? So we have a subject, a verb, an object, but that object is also the subject of this verb and that object. This action caused that action. These are the common verbs. Luis had Paul buy a pizza. Made sounds a bit forceful, right? We might use that for the government. The government made us do this, or my mother made me do this. It's more common to say had, which usually means you paid someone to do it, or you persuaded them to do it, do a favor, right? Luis had Paul buy a pizza. And by the way, while we're here, we might as well talk about it. This side of the sentence can sometimes be made into a passive, in which case we have to do a little magic. We have to say, Luis had a pizza be bought by Paul, right? Or you might hear something like, Luis had his hair styled by a stylist. I don't know. But anyways, go back to the original sentence. This is actually a causative. And that's why we don't have two, because we're following this structure. You find a new car, right? That's the final result. But that didn't happen alone. That happened because I help you. So this is actually, it's very soft, but it's part of the cause. This helped this happen. It didn't quite cause it to happen. Not fully, right? COVID made us stay home, right? The pandemic made us stay home. That's forceful. This is a little gentler because it's help, not made or had. So I help this happen. But it still follows a causative structure. So if you need help, if you want to research more about this, Luis, look up causative. Now, this is an active causative, and this structure would be a passive causative. But that explains why we don't put the two here. After the word help, if you have another subject, verb, and an object, it's a causative, no two. The confusing thing is that sometimes we use the verb here, get or got. Luis got Paul, and then we do use, then in that case, we do use two. It's the only time with got, okay? Now, there is a time when we could use to here if this was very, very far away down the sentence. You might want to use the to just to remind yourself that it's part of the structure. If you want more help with this, Luis, I have a document that graphs this out. But I hope that's enough because we are running out of our time. Oh, Nadim tells me my writing is not clear. I should use a black marker. Maybe I should also dial back this light. Thank you, Nadim. Hopefully that's better. The problem with black markers is they don't come off this board very cleanly. During a live show, I need to be able to erase them quickly. But thank you for the comment. I'll work on that. Just going to say hello to Jacob Youssef, who's joining us. Jacob, I think, is in Montreal. Tell us where you're watching from, Jacob. And Luis says, thank you. Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, Luis, we can get you on the show soon and talk about some of the things you want to talk about. But let's get you on the show soon, okay? Maybe next week or something. We're running out of time, but we have time for one small question. Does anyone have a small question? Anyone have a short question that we can quickly get through? In the meantime, I'll say hello to everyone who's been on our show tonight. We've had Tirath from Nepal. We've had Wako from Japan, Chris from Belgium, Teresa from the US, Utah, Etz from Japan, Luis from Vancouver by way of Venezuela. We've had Akash from Nepal. Double dipping, okay, double dipping. Yeah, double dipping is a slang expression. And it means to do something twice, but it really means to get paid by two sources at the same time. So if you have a job, I'm an English teacher, so I get paid by a school usually, although right now I'm teaching at home. Let's imagine we're in my classroom and I'm teaching Luis, who used to be my student. Luis is in my classroom and I'm teaching him our textbook. I'm teaching him the book, blah, blah, blah. So the school is paying me, right? What happens if I'm really sneaky and I'm doing another job at the same time on my phone, right? So while I'm teaching Luis in my class, I'm on the phone answering questions for another school, getting paid from another school, and my main school doesn't know. I'm double dipping. I'm getting paid by two companies at the same time, right? I'm not giving one company my time fully. I'm not giving the other company my time fully. I'm dipping into them twice. I'm dipping into two streams of income, two payrolls. On my way, hello. Thank you for joining. Oh, Thailand. We have Thailand in the house. On my way is watching from Thailand. Welcome to the show. Very nice to see you. We have also Pros Sorgen. Pros Sorgen. Where are you watching from? Pros? Bargain Betty elaborates on this, double dipping. Double dipping, in her experience, means putting a chip into a chip dip twice. So it's kind of gross. It's kind of yucky, right? Like, it's not very sanitary. You put it in, you eat it, and then put it back in. You dip twice. That's probably where it originates, actually, because we have chips and chip dip. But it's typically used now to mean getting money from two companies at the same time for doing one or using your time once. Think of a good example. I knew someone who double dipped all the time. Let me think about that. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I've known some taxi drivers. For a long time in my city, every time I'd get off the train and take a taxi, I'd get the same taxi driver. It was really funny. Same guy. So I got to know him. And while he was driving his taxi, he was also doing some internet work, doing some sort of immigration counseling for immigrants coming to Canada. So he'd be driving the car, we'd get to a stoplight, and then he'd talk on his phone and do some advice for immigration counseling, because in his country, he was a lawyer. So he's getting paid on the phone to do that, but I'm also paying him to drive the cab. So he's double dipping. He's dipping into the bank kind of twice. Dude, want a beef? Great. It's a funny one. I think this will be the last one of the night, so let's... So this is interesting because there's two things really happening here. And this is basically African American slang. You might hear this in the rap world. You might hear it if you have African American friends. They have a sort of culture, a language culture that has developed through their history, sort of parallel to the mainstream American society, because for a long time the African Americans were marginalized or segregated, and they developed their own sort of twist on the English language. A beef is an argument or fight or a conflict, usually over time. So if you have a conflict with somebody, like that kid in high school who was bullying you and you still hate him, right? That's a beef, a long-standing conflict or problem with someone. Wanna really means wants to, right? Wants to. And dude is a slang word meaning guy or boy or man. It can mean, it usually means it in a friendly way, right? It depends on the context. This might be saying like that dude, like that guy. That dude wants to beef. He wants to fight. He wants to cause conflict with me. I don't understand it. I'm a nice guy. I like him, but he has a problem with me. Doesn't like my head. Doesn't like my show. Doesn't like my explanations. Yeah, maybe he doesn't like my markers. I don't know. Just kidding. Just kidding, Nadim. You're a friend of the show. You're a friend of me. But that's what it means. It means that guy wants to make a fight with me. He's got a problem. He doesn't like me for some reason. He says bad things about me on Twitter or in the news. It could also be a question, right? It could be a question. It could be a statement like, it seems like that guy wants to make trouble with me. Yeah, Luis Miguel, I'd like to know the context where you heard that. We often hear this in terms of sports, because sometimes in sports, because it's a competition, sometimes the emotions get high and beefs do result. Maybe one guy says something in the media about the other team or about another player, and a beef results, a conflict or an ongoing dispute, right? That's what a beef is. Aya's notes elaborates on double dip. You can't double dip kushikatsu deep fried skewers into sauce. Yeah, right? So this comes from the idea of putting your food into the sauce, especially if you share it with other people. It's not hygienic to put it in, eat it, and then put it in again. Your germs go into the sauce. So double dipping is a negative thing. If we're talking about the financial technique, I don't recommend it unless your employer says it's okay. You know, for example, if you're working at the casino and you're dealing cards at the casino, you probably shouldn't be also teaching people how to cheat at cards so they can win. That would be a double dip that's really not good. But some employers don't mind, right? They don't mind if you do a side job at the same time. It all depends on the type of work you do. Kushikatsu, Aya's notes, if only we could have food on the show and eat it and share it like we can share our text messages. In the future, I think that's going to happen. We can like put food through the internet. I think that's the future. So if you mention kushikatsu, deep fried skewers, you could type that and send some. And I'd have a special receiver here in the room, and that food would appear and I could eat it. That would be cool. In the meantime, all we have is our comments. So thank you for all your comments. Guys, we're just about to wrap up. So I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining the show tonight and viewing and asking me all your great questions. Let me just remind you of a few things. If you want to send me a question during the week, like Chris did on video, the best way is to find me on Facebook. Find Teacher Paul's Hardboiled English on Facebook or Paul Duke on Facebook. And you can send me either a text message question or you can actually make a video and send me. Making a video is better. So please send me your video questions. Or just join the show and you can ask the show on the you can ask me the question live on the show. Just a reminder too, guys, I'm available for private lessons. If you need extra special attention and help, go to my website, www.teacherpaulsclassroom.com. Tune into YouTube channel, Hardboiled English, Teacher Paul's Hardboiled English, and you can see our series, English Weirdness. There should be a new episode coming out in March. I'm working hard right now editing our final episode of season 1, episode 10. But in the meantime, there are 9 episodes for you to catch up on. So go to the website, go to the YouTube channel, English Weirdness. And look out for more episodes coming soon of English Confidential. Yep, English Confidential, more episodes coming down. Oh, Chris says she can come live on the show. Excellent. Chris, would love to have you on the show. Let's you and I talk about that and arrange that. Okay. So all of you who joined the show, the list is too long to mention tonight. Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry, guys. Just a final announcement. Our next show will be Thursday, February 25th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please join us again for this this show. Same time, same place as tonight. And I'll see you there. In the meantime, guys, please take care of yourself. We're not quite out of the pandemic yet, although I like being at home and being able to broadcast directly to you and interact with you. I look forward to the day we can meet in person. So in the meantime, please stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Thank you for watching Teacher Paul's Hardboiled English Live. Stay cool.